our identity is so huge, right?
Yes.
We think we are our job.
Right.
Like we think we are this relationship. We think we're the body.
Right.
We're not the body. We're the soul inside of the body. But when everyone says, what do you do? And you say, I can't work. I am blank.
Right.
Right? I am is the most powerful words. You are hardening it into fact.
Yep.
And so you have to truly become a new version of you. You have to understand that is
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode here of the podcast. One of the things that I absolutely love about this podcast is we get the opportunity to take people that I get to see on my phone, put them right here in person at SoFi Stadium, and today is no different. We've got Kaitlin O'Toole with us, and I'm super excited to learn so much more about her journey and what she's working on today. But first, please welcome in our co-host David Meltzer and the lovely Lacey Book. Thanks for being here with us. I'm super excited for today. I want to begin by talking about bouncing back, this journey that you've been on. I want to talk about how you have gone through a lot in the last sort of 7-year period of time.
Yeah.
I want to talk about where you've come from and sort of the tools that you've used to bring yourself, brand, business, everything back to where we are today.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me. It is, it's one of those moments I was walking in here and you're kind of like, thank you, God, or whatever that higher power you believe in, because I think all of us have experienced hard times in our life, tragedies, disease, death, illness, business, you know, and it's really hard when you're in that moment of darkness. And people are like, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, keep going. And you're like, really? Like, are you sure? And even worse, you don't know if it's ever coming. But in my journey, I've realized that when I got to that end of the tunnel, I realized it was a mirror. And that light I was looking for was coming from me. And I had to become that person and overcome that and learn how to find that light that exists inside of all of us. And so everything we're looking for truly is within us. And it took me kind of, as you mentioned, you know, it was actually a decade of being very, very sick. And, you know, it started with, I'll just give you the quick version. It started with my brother, who's a veteran who came back from Iraq. And he had a really hard time transitioning back to life. The VA gave him a lot of medication. And one day he decided to take that medication to try to end his life. And I remember walking into this hospital room when he was in a coma, and they were kind of prepping us, like, if he woke up, would he be okay? And I got down on my knees and I just tried to make a deal with the divine, which I share that because it doesn't work like that. But something that I can reflect back and know now is that I planted a seed inside of my subconscious mind that if he was going to be okay, I couldn't. And that kind of led to this, you know, thank God, by the grace of God, my brother woke up. He walked, he talked, he was okay, but shortly after I got sick. And it was this period of time of, you know, celiac disease and neurological Lyme disease and lupus. And in 2017, I was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune called scleroderma, which has to do with the elasticity on your body. And my organs were hardening. My large and small intestine, it was moving up through my heart into my throat. And if I was trying to talk to you then, I'd be like, like I was gasping. And I remember going upstate to this specialist in New York and him saying, you know, at best you have 5 years left. And I'm like anyone else, who's like trying to go after their dreams. Like, no,
wait a minute.
No.
Yeah.
So I moved to California. I said, I'm going to heal. But I learned this lesson that nothing changes until you change. And it didn't matter if I went to California. It didn't matter if I went to Timbuktu. You know, I was that same person. I was that same version of me. And so things got worse. I developed tumors in my body, my ovaries, my breast, 2020 a brain tumor, until finally I got to this point that I was like so angry. A lot of people say like change comes from this positive attitude, you know, like think positive. But I was just at this point of so much anger that I just made this decision that I was done. Like I would never live this life again. And a couple days later, I wound up getting a call out of nowhere from Sports Illustrated at the time, looking for somebody. My life started to come back together. And I had this big decision, and I'm sorry, I'm giving you this quick version of it just to kind of context it. I had this big decision in this moment, like, was I going to continue to take all this medication, or was I going to become this new version of myself, which was a total just like shot in the dark. I just really believe that miracles can happen, and why couldn't I be one of them? And why can't everybody be one of them? So I stopped my medicine. I took the job at Sports Illustrated. The pandemic hits. I spent every day at home. I couldn't take the medicine because I couldn't think or function or anything. And after 10 months of doing this, I flew back out and I got the brain scan, and my tumor was gone, and they checked my organs, and that was healed, and everything in my body had healed, which led me down this path of like, what just happened, right? Like, what actually just happened? And that got me really into studying the science of healing, the science of possibilities, this energy, quantum physics, and all of these tools that we have. And then I thought, well, if I could heal, what else could I create? If I am this creator, how could I use this into business, into growing my life? And so it's just been this journey of then taking that and then being like, there was a PR talk earlier, and I struggle with that because I think PR is extremely important. But then I'm like, if I truly believe I'm a creator, then why can't I just manifest it? And that's what I practice with. And then, things like Elon Musk shares my stuff, or all these opportunities happen. And it's because it's just this faith and this unwavering will to believe in possibilities. And I'm no different than you or you or you. I just believe. So I could continue talking, but I kind of just hit you with a heavy story.
Yeah, no. And I think transformation is such an interesting thing because it really requires a detachment from something, right? And it's like, so being in health and wellness and being in the healthcare field for so long, I can't tell you how many people walk through my office that were so wrapped up in the identity of their dis-ease and their story and their, limitations, that they could not detach from that, no matter if they were given the tools and the perfect environment to heal, to become more, to create. And so I want you to just like touch on like, you had a moment where you were like, enough is enough, but there had to be more that was building up in that for you to be able to detach in such a profound way.
That is a beautiful reflection point. Thank you for that, because our identity is so huge, right? Yes. We think we are our job. Right. Like, we think we are this relationship. We think we're the body.
Right.
We're not the body. We're the soul inside of the body. But we live in this world where it's like, what do? We base our value on everything external. Yeah. And so, especially when you get diagnosed with something, it becomes your identity. When everyone says, what do? And you say, I can't work, I am blank. Right. I am is the most powerful words. You are hardening it into fact. Yep. And so you have to truly become a new version of you. You have to understand that is an identity. And it's what I call building out the character. Who do you want to be next? What do you want to play next? What is that character like? And you have to fully embody it. And I spent 10 years trying to heal, right? Doing the antibiotics and the IV antibiotics and the East Coast and the West Coast, all the things. And it wasn't until I just decided to be somebody different. I decided to take that opportunity. I couldn't tell Sports Illustrated I was sick. They would never hire me. Right. Oh, by the way, I just got diagnosed with a brain tumor, but I'll see you on Monday. I'm in. See you on Monday, guys. No, like
5-year deal.
Yeah. Do I have health insurance? No, but seriously, like, you can't say that. So instead, I went to the mall and I got a new outfit and I started showing up and being that person, being that. And I was, right? I did the job every day. I stopped talking about the problem, right? Because what do we like to do? We like to tell people what's going on in our life. And when you're going through a hard time, we share that. But, regardless of what you believe, I believe that the Bible has knowledge along with so many other books of wisdom. And one of the first things it says is, in the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word was God. And we are matter, and words matter. And we're constantly speaking things and creating our environment. And so you have to die to the old self and really become a new. And I do. And that's identity, right? Yeah. You have to understand that you're not that.
Yes.
That's not you. Like, you are truly the soul, the essence inside of you that will continue on and has continued on. And when you do that, then you're like, okay, this is fun. Who do I want to be next? What are we gonna try next?
there's a lot there, and I'm sure.
I love this
And-
stuff. Sorry. I
Yeah,
love
so do
this.
I. I mean, I wrote a book on manifestation, and you're looking at someone who resisted it for so many years. In fact, my wife tried to get me to watch and read The Secret years and years ago, and I said, "That's such horse shit." You know, sitting on your couch dreaming about what you want.
Right.
And then I was in the movie Beyond the Secret and sit on the Transformational Leadership Council, became a quantum healer, and lived my entire life in the same realm of becoming. But I think intention is misunderstood. And when we're forced to spend 15 minutes on a miracle, and I always say, I am a miracle. What am I doing to interfere with it? My entire paradigm shift is about I am. What am I doing to interfere with it? I think, simplify it to a point where intention needs to be defined in 5 different levels when we're becoming something. So one, a lot of people would say it's what I say, right? We speak it into the universe. A lot of people say it's what you do. And then there's a realm of billions of dollars spent on what we think. My favorite, Think and Grow Rich, is what we believe. But a lot of people miss, to me, the confirmation of faith and wisdom in a reconciliation in the quantum healing realm, which is feeling.
Feeling is the secret.
Yeah. And so a lot of people will go through these different modalities and methodologies of healing, and it doesn't work for them. They have stage 4 cancer, and the cancer wins. In fact, one of my mentors, Dr. Wayne Dyer, who taught me the power of intention, died of cancer. And I started questioning once again when he passed, like, am I full of shit? Is like the king and the god of intention, he couldn't figure it out. How did he die at 73 of cancer if he's a healer? And so how do you help people understand the individuality and intention and the divine time that also exists when maybe some people that we love or admire, that we can't throw away the baby with the bathwater? And I get emotional about it because it's a big question when my mentor passed or other people passed, that I have to think of things in divine, including time, and that they're sometimes just the best option. And it may not work out in this lifetime, but that's just the body's problem.
Exactly.
The soul is infinite.
Exactly.
How do you help people when they say, I'm sick and I want to do I want the miracle, I want to be the miracle, and there's still a percentage of time that it's not going to work out for this body?
That is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. This has been the biggest lesson of mine. I actually was with a group of people one time, and Dr. Joe Dispenza, if you're familiar with him, was like, Kaitlin, you can't interfere with the soul's journey, because I just have this enormous amount of faith and belief. And I think the hardest thing for me was when my brother, 2 years ago, he passed unexpectedly. And so for the first time, it was like, he wasn't suicidal. He was okay. And then one day he just went to bed and never woke up. And it was the biggest lesson of having to understand that every soul has its own journey. And for us, like, we don't know what that is. We don't know why the soul came to earth. We don't know what they're here to experience and when that time is over, and the divine timing of it all. And so I think the biggest thing is to understand what is possible, and also have to trust that all we can do, all I can do is share my greatest understanding of the truth of what is possible. And either the soul will accept it at this time and they'll continue. Sometimes we're being called to be the example. Sometimes it's we don't know how that played. I mean, my brother's passing, at the time I was going through a lot of trauma. That really catapulted me into where I am now, because I started to look at life differently. So his soul left, but it changed my entire life. And so Wayne Dyer's passing, right? How did that shift you? How did that make you actually double down? What did you start to read after that? How did you seek for wisdom instead of just guidance? How did you seek for your own truth and understanding? But I want to go back to the feeling, because that's huge. Feeling is the secret, right? We are vibrational beings. Everything is moving. And so you can say these things, words of affirmation, I am this, I am healthy. But if you don't feel it, right? The intention, right? That clear signal going out into the field, but the magnetic that has to come back, that creates that electromagnetic field that has the information around us, is that feeling. So for me, in my own personal journey, that's what I can speak on, is I started to feel grateful. I was so grateful to have a job and to feel like I was living despite what my body was saying. And that's one of the hardest things, is to ignore your senses, right? Because we live in this 3D reality of like where we needed to survive. And I get that a lot, that question a lot, like, how do you overcome if you're not feeling well? How do you act like you are? You get into gratitude, you operate from your heart, you feel ahead of the experience, that energetic signature of gratitude. And we know when we operate from there, that shifts and changes our immune system. 3 days of doing that 15 minutes a day, it creates immunoglobulin in our body, which it creates a 50% increase in our immune system. That's not a little, that's a lot of change. And so feeling is one of the biggest parts of this, is to really, and maybe you don't know what it's like to feel wealthy yet. Maybe you don't know what it's like to feel healthy, but every one of us can find a moment in time where we were grateful for the gift to be alive, grateful for the person next to you that you love, grateful for the air that we breathe, for this moment in time that we get to experience. And so how long can you live in that feeling of gratitude? And as you do that, it's a vibrational match, and something will come in. Maybe it's the something we want, maybe it's the healing, maybe it's the health, maybe the timing is not there yet, but maybe something else will happen. Maybe it'll be the gift to touch another soul, or to encourage somebody else, or to fall in love, or to have an opportunity or an experience, which is what I think we truly come here to do. And so for us, of course, like, my brother was 34 years old. It's so hard for me. Like, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning because, I felt him in my dream, that it woke me, because it was this, like, he's everywhere and everything. And it's still hard to process, like, but why did he have to go? He was the one trying to get me to read The Secret 10 years ago. And I was like, do you know me? Sit still and meditate.
Yeah.
I looked at, like, I could never do this. I didn't even care. I thought it was woo-woo and out there. And this is crazy. And I got dreams and I got goals, and nobody but me is going to make them happen, until I realized that you're the magnet. And you don't have to go anywhere or do anything. You could just be it and feel it and bring everything to you. Everything. But that takes time. Like, you have to realize that life is coming from you, not at you.
And through you.
And
Well,
through
you would
you.
think Kaitlin is a quantum healer or some sort of a mindset leadership coach. Let's talk about your role as the president of partnerships, where you're currently working
at genius.ai.
at
Yeah.
genius.ai. What a right turn from where we
Well,
were.
I think that AI is happening, and I think that could be a scary topic. And I think the only way to beat AI is with AI.
Yeah.
And I think that, knowledge is power, and what people are told they'll believe, and that will shift and shape their reality. It's the power of the collective consciousness. So how do we make sure that there's information that is truth out there? How do we let people know what is possible? How do we help people not lose their jobs, but maintain them and create from them and be empowered and understand? So that's like a little, like, it's such a curveball, right?
Yeah,
It's such a
seriously.
curveball.
At least you didn't get my curveball. It really off the cliff.
But it's
I'll stay away from my
Yeah, you can stay
curveball.
away from
Hey,
it.
we love a good curveball, right? Life's got a twist and
Mine's more a
turns.
slider.
Yeah. So that's
This
that's
interview's
like
going great. Let's just leave it right there.
that's my 3D job,
Yep.
Yeah.
but I find it important for what's happening in the world. But I'd say, like, there is a part of my heart in that, because I truly believe that information is powerful and it's important that people have access to it. And I do believe that AI, you will need that.
Well, let me give you a line that I've been using. I think is going to resonate with you, since we share kind of the same neighborhood or frequency. I love the line that AI, and I've been in technology since '92 before I got into sports, but it's AI's here to make humans more human. And that's what I see Genius.ai doing. It makes humans more human. And so let it be your servant, not your master, and it'll help heal and
Absolutely.
identify what we need. So I think that applies to what
Yeah.
you do.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And that's actually beautifully said, right? We need it. It's a tool. We don't need it, but it's happening, right? So how can you use it? And how do you use it to create, right? Like, Genius.ai is a social selling. It helps people. It's actually really beautiful. We made it for social selling. And the most beautiful thing is happening is that we are started to get these incredible use cases of people with autism, people that are dyslexic, people that don't know how to express themselves, but need to, or want to, or just want to create a living.
The antithesis of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
People that don't know how to express themselves.
yeah, I know. Like, I love expressing. I just actually, but it's interesting. And so it's like, how do we combine the worlds? Like, how do we combine them, right? Because I believe in very heavily in programming. Like, I believe we're all heavily programmed. And, that's something that Elon Musk shared recently, one of my things about programming and how we are programmed. And was just invited next weekend to speak at the United Nations on this.
Nice.
And, unlocking human potential, but in a workforce. And I think we can't look at like spirituality and manifestation and our relationship with the divine or whatever it is, your higher self, you want to call it, and AI work and whatever it is you do, right? They're combined. It's in how you show up in all ways. And that level of love that you bring into everything that you do for the greatest good of humanity. What is your contribution? And so I think there's this race in AI that are maybe potentially overlooking some concerns that may come up because it's like the race to billions of dollars. And that being said, it's like, how do we use it as these tools to help and enable people to become a better version of themselves and to coexist in this world that's happening? So,
Well, I love that idea of partnership, collaboration, meeting this inspirational story of how you have overcome, right? And I think there's so many people out there that they are attempting to overcome themselves. I love the point of gratitude being that pivot point. And then potentially over at genius.ai, that can be a tool that can help us to be able to maybe express those feelings that are so important that will help to bring us through to that outcome that we desire. See, it wasn't all just junk.
when you like zoom out, you're like, this is all connected.
It's not
It's all
really a
connected.
curveball, right?
I was like, this is all actually all connected. And it's, because when you understand who you are and why you're here, then you trust. You trust why things are coming into your life. You trust the opportunities that are knocking on your door, and you figure out, why am I being divinely guided to this? Why am I here? What is the greatest good that can happen from this? And I think when you search and you ask those questions, like the answers will come. They'll come from inside of you. So you gotta the noise, but they come from very good.
I did.
I love it. Well, Kaitlin, thank you so much for sharing your story with
Thank you.
us. I hope that you have been inspired to, once again, take action. You may find yourself in a similar situation as Kaitlin, maybe not even health-wise, maybe just emotional or with your thinking, or maybe with the state of your business, and you're wondering, will this ever change? I hope that this episode serves to give you a prompt to stop right now and just be grateful for all of the wonderful things that we have. I'm grateful for you, Dave, grateful for Lacey, and grateful for you, Kaitlin, for
Thank
spending
you.
this time with us.
Thank you so much.
Make sure that you join us next week. We'll be back again with a brand new episode right here on your favorite podcast.